Welcome back to Honest Game Perspectives, the show where we play games, talk about what's good, talk about what's bad, and see if it's worth your money, or more importantly, worth your time. I watched almost all the showcases, or at least as much as I could over the past weekend, and all in all, I was pretty surprised if I'm being honest. I had already had a pretty stacked list of upcoming video games I was excited for, but after what we just saw, I've got five more that shot straight to the top of my wish list. So these are five upcoming games that either dropped late this year or sometime next year that completely grabbed my attention, and I want to share them with you. Kicking off our list is Resident Evil Requiem. Now, this really doesn't need any sort of introductory. It's the next major entry into the franchise that was revived several years ago that seems to be finally making its footprint on the next generation of gamers as people who once enjoyed the franchise. There was a gap year, really, where people who played games didn't really know Resident Evil. And now it's back as the juggernaut that it once was, thanks to the reinvention of their style. Now, what's really interesting to me about this upcoming game is that it really looks like it is trying to take the pacing and the tension of the modern games with the amazing feel of the remakes. So it looks like it will be visually closer to the Resident Evil 2 and 4 remake, but it's going to obviously have the modern Resident Evil 7 and 8 remake feel or remaster or however you want to say it's different. So it'll be really exciting to see. I think this game will probably be perfection. I know you can't, say it will be perfection, but I just hope it will be. And this game is dropping February of 2026. Next up is Code Vein 2. Now, full transparency here, this is a sequel to a game I've yet to play, and that'll be sort of a theme on this list. However, much like all the other ones, I will be playing the original game on our Let's Play channel, so make sure to check that out if you are curious about these games. However, Code Vein 2 just looks awesome. I mean, it looks really exciting. And specifically about this series is that I have a friend who's pretty deep into the Souls likes, the kind of guy who plays all the hidden gems and he gives everything a chance. If it's got that Souls like tag on Steam, he's probably played it. And he has always recommended this game. He really has said that this is one of the hidden gems of the genre of the Souls like, where there's so many that try and fail. He's always sort of said that Code Vein 1 is up there. So, with that being said, on top of it getting the sequel, the anime style, the flashy combat, the customization, it just looks really cool. And I'm really excited to see what this game has in store. The sequel is set to be on its way in 2026. So, again, another game that'll come out next year, but I am just as excited for it now as I think I will be when it comes out, if not more. All right, next up, we have Atomic Heart 2. Now, as I mentioned before, this is yet another sequel that I never really played the original one. I always had the intention to do it, but let's be honest. I mean, in today's world, there are just so many games out there. The list of games we want to play is probably bigger than the list of games we've ever played. Now, Atomic Heart 2 is, well, weird in the best way. The first game was visually insane. I mean, if you look at how the game was presented, it's incredibly, unique and weird. This alternative history, creepy robots, wild combat. It's really a game that looks exciting and looks pretty cool. It looks like one of those sequels that's just going to expand upon the original, double down on what made it so unique, and expand on other things. Now, what's interesting about Atomic Heart is when you ask me, if you're asking me, I think Atomic Heart is has the potential to be the modern Wolfenstein, right? Think of it like action heavy, first person point of view, alternative or alternate history. Like that's kind of what Wolfenstein was. And so it's cool to see that that same thought process of a game can now be another generation's, alternate history game, right? Like if you were to ask, say, a 20-year-old what video game franchise is their alternate history, they would say Atomic Heart. If you asked a 30-year-old that same question, they would say Wolfenstein. So that's just something I thought was kind of cool. Now, on this list, I wanted to include a game that maybe I'm not incredibly excited about, but a game that I know will probably be received well and that a lot of people are going to at least be excited about, and that's Chrono Odyssey. Now, this game is, like I said, a game that I'm not really I'm just not a fan of the MMORPG genre. But it looks really cool and it looks like it's another one where they're trying to sort of implement the Souls-like vibe to it. with the boss battles and the time bending mechanics. It just it looks cool. It looks like a game that is sort of just out there again, trying to push the boundaries of the standard type of games out there. And I think this game will be pretty cool. But I got to be honest, if I was ranking them in order, this one would probably be the lowest. But I just wanted to include a game that I thought people would also enjoy, and it does seem to fly under a lot of people's radars. So I wanted to try to give it some attention here. And finally, one of the coolest new reveals that I saw was The Blood of Dawnwalker. Now, this is a vampire themed dark fantasy RPG set in medieval Europe. That's a mouthful. But this looks crazy. This is one of those games that you look at and you see the promotion, the trailers, the marketing, and you're like, there's no way this is going to be as good as it looks. However, we're sort of in that timeline where they will, right? Games will look as good as they look on paper, just with the evolution of the graphics and the visuals and how games are made. So this game looks like it's going to be a sort of enjoyable dark fantasy style game with some realism elements, which is always a cool combination you like to see. It looks brutal, it looks cinematic, it kind of gives me early Witcher vibes, with a darker overall twist to it. Definitely one of the ones that I will be talking about more and more as we get closer to its release in 2026. There are so many other games that got revealed and trailers that were shown and things like that. Some of them aren't on this list because I just didn't want to make the list too long. Some of them aren't on this list because I will be making dedicated videos to them. Death Stranding 2, and other things like that in the future. But these are 5 games that I thought were pretty unique and pretty cool, that caught my eye, and I'm interested to see if they also caught your eye. So if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like this video. If you want to keep the conversation going, let's make sure to comment in the comments down below, and I will see you guys in the next one.